Hello fellow leaders of the web, I'm Nathan Tranquilla. In this video, you'll watch me struggle and succeed in creating a web app in pure ReScript, which renders the first 10 blocks of the Mina blockchain. My initial thoughts were to create a web app with React bindings. However, I really wanted to get the feel of what it would be like to create a web app in pure ReScript. So stick around as I struggle and eventually succeed in reaching the goal. Let's get into it. All right, so my IDE is open and I'm looking to get going. Okay, I'm taking a look at the documentation for ReScript to see what I need to do to set up a new project. Okay, so we'll copy this command, paste that in and run it. Create new project. Okay. ReScript Mina block explorer. I guess we'll set up a basic app. And 1.6.1 of ReScript core version. Oh. All right, let's try that again. Basic, ReScript version 11.1.4 and 1.6.1. All right, there's my scaffolding. Let's take a look and see what we have. Demo.res, so that would be the ReScript extension. We've got a gitignore file, package.json. Okay, we've got our ReScript dependencies there, and yeah, a little README. Oh, and a ReScript.json file. Okay, so there's some things here that I haven't seen before. BS dependencies and BSC flags. So I guess we'll figure out what those mean. All right, let's go back to the documentation. See what comes next. Trigger a ReScript build. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So that seemed to have triggered some JavaScript output from demo.res. Cool. And then we can run it with this. Okay, let's try that. Nice. Okay. So I think that's all I need to know for now. Let's transform this into a web app. I have a basic ReScript app generated using the demo path. Would like to now make a ReScript web app for rendering a list of items from API. That's probably good enough to get going. Let's assume that I want to go the React path. Let's shut that down. Want to make a vanilla ReScript app from scratch. Web app from scratch. Before I go any further though, I should probably commit this. Here's the plan. Set up a minimal ReScript project structure. Create an index.html as the entry point. Okay, let's do that. Here we go. Okay, let's create a index.html file. We'll dump this in, and it's going to reference our source. It's going to reference our source app.bs.js. Okay. Let's delete those, so they're no longer needed. Oh, app.res. Okay, let's refactor that. App.ReScript. Got it. All right. Let's dump this in there for now. The module or file dom.document can't be found. It's a third-party dependency. Did you add it to your BS dependencies? Okay. That's hilarious. BS dependencies. Okay. So we're missing a BS config. And okay, we need Vite. Let's update these. 11.4, 11.1.4, and Vite. Okay, I think I've gone too ambitious. Let's narrow this down to let's make a hello world app first instead of rendering from API endpoint. Okay, wow, this is vastly simpler. Okay, let's use this instead. Okay, still having problems with this third-party dependency. Did you include the file? Script. Let's go to the documentation. I'm curious to see if, yeah. Dom, what is it? Dom.document. Okay. Okay, so it's not imported or something. All right. Dom document is a third-party dependency. Import the right. All right, well, that'll do. Okay. Web API cannot be found. Let's try that. Not automatically available in vanilla ReScript project unless explicitly included. Okay, so I need to update. To fix this, we need to add ReScript.WebAPI to the dependency of the project. Update bsconfig. I think that's now I have a ReScript.json. Is that the bsconfig.json? Replacement. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, so I need to install ReScript Web API. BS dependencies. Okay. That wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I think that's what I need to do. Oh, I see. Hold on. Hmm. Does ReScript Web API need to go in my BS dependencies? What is BS dependencies? The BS dependencies field in ReScript.json lists the ReScript specific dependencies that your project relies on. Okay. Okay, so it does need to go in my BS dependencies. But I thought I saw in the documentation, I think this must be out of date, because it seems like this is now part of the core. dom.document. Okay. So I should update this. I should let AI know. So, okay. This is my ReScript.json file. I think the web API module is now part of core. Is it? Yes. It's now been integrated into ReScript core. Okay. So to include it, I need to use core.webapi. Got it. It's right around this point that I mistakenly fed AI with the assumption that the web API library was now part of core. It in fact is not, and is still a third-party library. So instead of taking you through that struggle, I'm going to take you to the next morning where I picked up again with the web API library, integrating it into the project, which contains all of the bindings for JavaScript for accessing DOM elements and such. So let's go to that. All right, so we're here at the ReScript Web API GitHub repo, and we're going to download this to the project. npm install ReScript Web API. All right, and then we need to add ReScript Web API to BS dependencies. Okay. Good. And let's take a look at the examples folder. DOM example. Okay. BS config. Right. DOM example. Oh, good. Okay. Let's use this. Let's get rid of these old bindings that I had manually created. And is there like a get element by ID? No. Interesting WebSocket. Fetch examples. Cool. I'll need these. Okay. See if, let's search the code for get element by ID. Value get element by ID cannot be found. Alright, so maybe it's document. I don't know. Oh. Document. No. Element? I'm not sure. Element. Alright, let's get AI to finish this. Rewrite. Alright. In ReScript, I'm using ReScript Web API for bindings. Help me finish this app.res file. Help me correct. It's mostly correct, but there's a few potential issues. Unsafe use of option get extern. Okay. API. Set in array. Okay. Ooh, I like this way better. Let's try this. So we have a switch statement and we're invoking our main after the DOM content is loaded. Yeah, this looks much better. All right. Okay, we get a compilation error. Let's plug that in. Oh, so something's in the wrong position. The issue stems from document get element by ID call. In ReScript Web API, you typically access document via Web API DOM window or directly as Web API DOM document.t. Here's the corrected app.res file. Correct get element by ID usage. Change this to, okay. Document is a value of type document T available in the Web API DOM module when you open it. The getElementById function is called on document using the pipe first operator. For a more idiomatic ReScript syntax. Takes in a single string and returns an option of an element. Good. Okay. Let's plug this in. Okay, still some issues. Let's plug this in. Different issue though. Open webapi.dom statement shadows the global document value, which is later used in your code. This can cause confusion and unexpected behavior, as ReScript warns about shadowing identifiers that are used elsewhere. Okay. Incorrect number of arguments for add event listener. This function expects 3. webapi.dom, which brings document into scope. Since your code uses document from webapi.dom, this is not a functional issue, but a warning of potential confusion. Okay. Shadowing is harmless in this case, so we don't have to use a fully qualified name. Okay, so we got to fix the add event listener. It's being called with 4 arguments, but expects 3. Okay, it has this function signature, string, function, and an option of a bool. Okay. Use capture. If you explicitly need use capture false, you could write something. Okay. So we're going to say the corrected code is could use fully qualified names, that's fine. What's different though about the add event listener? Okay, so there's a warning. Great, so that compiled actually, but just with a warning. And I'm just going to use fully qualified names to avoid that warning. So let's do this. Document. I think that's correct. Handle content downloaded. Alright, so I'm going to use a fully qualified name. Hey. Alright, that should do. There, that worked. Okay, compiles. Great. Let's see the output. So the main function gets the element by ID. It checks if it's null. Oh, that's neat. Because of the switch statement. And then it correctly sets the inner HTML. Sweet. And then we've got a function to invoke main, which which we run when the DOM content's loaded. Nice. This is great. Okay. Let's run the app. Localhost. Hey. Celebrate. Great. Awesome. Let's commit this. Let's add to the git ignore our dist folder. And yeah, git add. Create hello world app. Nice. Delete this. We don't need this. All right, now we want to augment this to create a to fetch and render from a fetch endpoint, from some endpoint. So let's get AI to help us with this, to iterate with us. All right, now I want to render fetched data. Update my app to do this. Let's just see what it comes up with. I like this. Okay, good. All right, so this is a pretty good example. I feel like I can make a further step. So I want to render blocks, 10 blocks of from the Mina blockchain. So actually, I think this is exactly the query that I'm looking for. It is. Perfect. Now I'm just going to copy this request as a curl, and I'm going to feed this. Okay. Great. Thank you. It's good to thank AI. I want to render, or I want you to update the code to use following, update the code to query a different endpoint. Here is the curl. Ignore the verbose headers. Just include content type. And accept headers. Oh, and here is the response. Stop. Here is what the response looks like. Good. We'll let AI figure that out. Decode block. Decode a single block from JSON. Nice. Decode object, belt option, get extern. Okay, so it's parsing. Decode blocks. Okay. Fetch data, query, blocks, limit 10. Try render blocks. Cool. All right, let's try this. See what it comes up with. Okay, it uses the fetch API. Cool. Let's see if this compiles. No, it does not. No surprise. Got a bug for you. Line 18. All right. I'm unfamiliar with the syntax here, so yeah, let's get AI to help us. I have a compile error. I'm unfamiliar with belt syntax. Explain and fix for me. The compilation error for your app.res file occurs in the decode block function where the JSON decoding for canonical field is incorrect. The error message indicates that returns an option bool, but the block expects a bool, suggesting that decode boolean from js.json is producing an option bool when it should produce a bool. Additionally, you mentioned unfamiliar with belt syntax. I'll explain. Okay, belt is a standard library provided by ReScript in Newer that offers type-safe functional utilities for working with data structures like arrays, options, and dictionaries. It's designed to be more consistent and safer than JavaScript built-in methods. In your code, belt is used for option handling, okay, array operations, map and join with, float conversion. The error occurs in the JSON decoding where belt option get extern is used to unwrap values. The issue is that decode boolean returns an option bool, and we need to handle it correctly. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so how is it fixed over here? Get or default false. Yeah. Now, canonical, block height, state hash, and Coinbase username and snark fees, those are all non-optional, so I think that makes sense that we want to have a default. So the reality is the API is always going to return that. So let's plug that in. All right. Decode boolean build option get. Nice. Okay. Seems a bit verbose, but we can always come back to that. Let's see if this compiles. We found a bug for you. The uncurried function has type string JS promise with a fetch response. It is applied with two arguments. But it requires one. Oh, okay. Oh. That's interesting. Okay. So, curious to know how the fetch arguments, how like headers are specified. Okay, so that's fetch with init is how you specify headers. So which one did it use? It used fetch with init. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, we found a bug for you. The, the record field method can't be found. Okay, can I just click through to this? No. Let me go over to the documentation and look at fetch with init. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Here is some example code on how to use fetch with init. So it looks like there's a little helper to make the request init object or something. Okay, so let's see what AI comes up with. Yeah, so it used a little helper. Okay, cool. Body init make. Interesting. Okay, let's use that. Plug it in, see what happens. Decode blocks. Okay. We found a bug for you. Modular file fetch can't be found. Oh. How am I accessing fetch? Probably it's more fetch. Maybe I don't need to specify fetch. Just request init. Fetch. Oops. Okay, let's try that. Oh, yeah. Cool. So, I'm just going to let AI know, keep it in the loop. This works. Notice I didn't use the fully qualified name for fetch related things. Okay, so let's run this now and see what the heck happens. Oh, that is cool. Not right. Success. All right, so let's commit these changes. Actually, should we even commit the generated code? I don't know. For now, let's do that. Render 10 latest blocks. Blocks of Mina blockchain. Okay. All right, let's tighten this up. Okay, the code is very verbose with fully qualified names. Let me clean this up. Also, there is probably more terse ways to deserialize the blocks. Help me with that. Gstic.get and belt option handling. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's see what it does. So we've imported those Okay, so we've opened js.json and js.dict and belt.option. Dict get flat map. Oh, okay. Yes, that's more familiar for sure. That's tighter as well. Okay, let's copy this and just see how it looks. Okay, so here we have the code. We've got, we're importing our DOM and fetch libraries. To clean it up, we've been importing the JSON and dict libraries here right in the decode block function so that we don't have to use fully qualified names. So now we've got a little bit more sensible decoding. Dict get flat map, get with the default. So I think this is chaining. This is basically chaining. So that's cool. And nice. There's a none case. That's good. And then we're doing the same here. JSON decode object flat map. Cool. Flat map. Nice. Nice. Okay. And yeah. So my reflections on the code. I like it. I like that as soon as this compiles, in fact, I'll just compile it. Okay, this does not compile. Okay. We found a bug for you. Has type string. Okay, let's plug this into AI, help us understand this problem. JSDict dictionary and returns an option. The suggestion is just a syntax issue with how get function is used inside of flat map. Okay, I thought so. So to fix that, oh, okay. To use get in flat map, we need to pass a function that takes a dictionary and applies get to the key. Okay, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, so let's try that, see if this compiles. It does. Great. Okay, let's commit this. Well, actually, I'm just assuming that it works. Let's go over and see that it works. Great. Just to be sure, I'm going to run it again. Great. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Tighten up code. Improve code legibility. Yeah, that's all we need to say. All right, so my thoughts are this. I like that as soon as this compiled that it worked. Now that the code is cleaned up, I think what's going on here with the chaining using belt is a clear. I like that there's some exhaustive checking going on here, so that we have to account for all cases of decoding a block. I like that when you in the main function that you're forced to do a switch on a switch statement on the app on accessing the DOM element app, which is basically our route where we're going to load the bulk of we're going to load the content into. So I like that we're forced to code for both cases. Either the app is on the app element is on the page, or which is a div when we go over here. This is what I'm talking about. Or it's not. I mean, we know it's going to be there, but I like that it codes for those cases and it requires you to code for those cases. Um, yeah, it's really tight. I just like how as soon as it compiled, it rendered. And yeah, aside from some learning with regards to where I got caught up the other day was not understanding that the JavaScript bindings were part of the DOM library that is in the core of ReScript, and that there is community maintained bindings for accessing the DOM and doing fetch requests and so on. So that was a good realization. And once I got that, it really unblocked me. So yeah, this is great. This is a really great experiment. All right, so let me leave you with my impressions of ReScript. So I really liked the belt utility, which is a functional, a pure functional utility for parsing data structures. I really like the syntax. I like how it's chained. It feels familiar. I also like the feel of the application. It just feels safe coding in ReScript. Once the application compiled, I just went over and I looked at the web app and it was rendered. So that, like, if it compiles, it renders feel is great. I love that. Feels very safe. I didn't quite get into using JSX syntax in this project, but I understand that it's fully available. So definitely I will dive into that in my next project with ReScript. I'll go deeper into JSX. And I like that there was exhaustive checking on for every optional, accessing the DOM elements, for example, the root of the application. I like that you're forced as a developer, due to exhaustive checking, to code for all cases, so that nothing is left out and nothing is left to chance at runtime. And overall, I just had a lot of fun with it. It was frustrating mid mid cycle there in the development cycle. But the aha moment and the realization was that I don't have to create my own bindings to the JavaScript APIs. I can just rely on community maintained bindings and import them in my library. So that was a good aha moment. And after that, I was really able to have some success and finish the goal. So achieve the goal. So yeah, I had lots of fun. And I think that's the most important thing. So thanks for joining. If you want to see more, if you'd like to see me continue this journey with ReScript and other next generation development languages, like, subscribe, and follow me on the journey. Bye now.